Welcome, grade 12s. We are back another Thursday down, just before the weekend, but before we hit that weekend vibe tomorrow. Here we are at the Mindset Studios learning about business studies. You're here tonight with me, Megan, and our lovely lady teacher here on a Thursday, Anita. How have you been?
Hello, very well, and you?
Fantastic. I want to say, Macmillan, thank you for proudly sponsoring our show. Just have to add that all the time. So what are we doing today? Can you tell us for business?
Today we're preparing for prelims. We're doing a little bit of legislation revision, guys. And I did a lesson with you, so we're not doing theory, we're just doing questions tonight.
That's interesting.
Yes.
It's actually, I saw a peek of the notes, and it looks like we have questions from a lot of different departments.
The acts,
Yeah.
yes. Lots of the acts, BBBEE and all of those. Yeah.
Looks interesting. And please excuse Anita, she has a cough tonight, so if she does cough, then just don't listen to it, because then I'll just jump in and talk a lot of nonsense. But I just want to tell you where to get all the information, and that's facebook.com/learnextra, and also the note, well, it's not really notes now, it's questions. The questions I'll post on our FOSS link, and that will be mindset.co.za/learnextra. So I think I've done enough talking, and it's over to my lovely Anita.
Thank you so much. Okay, guys, let's get going. I hope you're all studying and that you are determined to do well in your prelim exams, and I hope that today can help you a little bit, because I try to incorporate shorter types of questions and then more open type of questions, and we're really going to discuss them as we go along. So let's get going. All right, so I said to you in this lesson we're going to look at typical exam questions. Let's start with question 1. All right, now you all have done multiple choice. I just want to remind you again that you always need to look when to answer on your answer sheet. I saw that with my matrics. They wrote today, and you have to keep reminding them. Look when they ask you to write on the answer sheet. Because remember, you've got specific markers marking answer sheets and your answer script. So let's look at this. It says 4 possible options are provided as answers to the following questions. Choose the correct answer and write only the letter next to the question number. So you didn't see anything about an answer sheet here. So you're doing this in your exam script. You're going to say, for instance, number 1, D. All right, let's get going. My first question says, this prevents unfair discrimination against employees in the workplace. So which one of these acts? Let's have a quick look at our options. Number A says the Employment Equity Act. Number 2 says our Skills Development Act. Number 3, the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. And then number 4, or D, says Broad-Based Black Economic Empowerment. Now, let's chat about those acts quickly. My question says, prevents unfair discrimination. Now, when I think discrimination, it could be against race, it could be against gender, it could be against religion, it could be against disabled people. So my first option, the Employment Equity Act, says, remember when I taught you guys this, I said to you, the minute you hear equity, it means equal. For everyone to be treated the same. Let's look at the next one. The Skills Development Act says, remember when we did this? We want to develop the skills of all the people that work in our company so that they become better. We want our company to become more productive, and eventually the economy is going to grow in South Africa if everyone's more productive. Number 3, or C, says, the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. Listen to the name. Basic conditions. In other words, what are the minimum conditions that the employer needs to adhere to in the workplace? We talk about things such as work hours, leave. Let's get back to this. Number D says, Broad-Based Black Economic Empowerment. We call this BBBEE. Goes hand in hand with BEE. Now, what are we going to say here, guys? This is a bit of a tricky one, because the minute we think about discrimination, I want everyone to be treated equally. So the answer here will be, I just want to quickly circle it for you guys, is A, the Employment Equity Act. Quickly tell me, why did we not say D? What is wrong with saying broad-based black economic empowerment? That deals only with, remember we said, people of color. And we now classify people of color as all people that are not black. All right. And they didn't say that here. We just said against unfair discrimination, so that means it's the Employment Equity Act to ensure that everyone is treated in an equal manner. Question number 2. A business which employs more than 50, ooh, that's a key. We did this in theory, more than 50 workers, and has a turnover of 10 million rand, must submit this document to the Department of Labor once every 2 years. Let's look at the options, guys. Number A says the Employment Equity Plan, marketing strategy, a business plan, or the Code of Conduct. Now, let's just think, the Department of Labor, do you think they'd be interested in your marketing strategy? Do you think if you are a dairy producer, why in the world would the Department of Labor be interested in your marketing? So no, we know it's definitely not our marketing strategy. A business plan? What is a business plan? A business plan is a document that I'm going to use when I want to get people to invest into my company, or when I want to go to a bank for a loan. So why would I have to give that to the Department of Labor? No, definitely not. Code of Conduct. Remember, this is an internal document in a company. A code of conduct tells me what is acceptable behavior and what is not acceptable. So why would the Department of Labor be interested in what is acceptable in my company? So definitely not that one. Leaves me with my equity plan. Do you remember we spoke about the equity plan? Equity plan for companies that employ more than 50 people, we need to actually show the Department of Labor how we enforce our BEE. And that we show them in our equity plan. Equity means equal. Okay, number 3. Which one of the following, oh, they even put that in capital letters for you. Which one of the following methods is implemented by government to stimulate the overall economic growth? Let's have a look at the options. Implementing a new medical aid fund. Why would that help us? Do you think if there's a new medical aid, something like Discovery, this big medical aid, how are we gonna, no guys, we need to pay to get medical aid. Why would that make the economy grow? Because now we're spending more money on getting medical aid. So it's not that one. Sponsoring an AIDS orphanage. If we need to take the money and we uplifting, giving to the AIDS orphanage, we are spending money. Is it going to make the economy grow? No, it's purely going to help the little orphans go to school, go to study, but it's not going to make our economy grow. So no, it's not B. Increasing the interest rate. Let's think about this now. When the interest rate goes up, if I have debt, my debt becomes more expensive. At the end of the day, I pay a monthly premium or installment towards the bank. If I've got a bond or a personal loan or a study loan, I'm paying it back with interest. If that interest rate goes up, I need to pay more per month for that premium, which leaves me with less spendable money. So I'm going to have less money to go out to movies and dinner and buy groceries, put petrol in my car. So is the economy going to grow? No, definitely not. So we know it's not C. Let's see if it's the last one. Introducing the Broad-Based Black Economic Empowerment Act. Definitely 100%. Why? Because we're saying BBBEE empowers black people, puts them into management and shareholder positions. They're earning more money, which means they can go spend more money, which means our economy will grow. Great. Let's carry on to number 4. All right. This legislation was created to ensure that qualified people from designated groups have equal opportunities in the workplace. Very important here. There's a little key word for you guys. Equal opportunities. Let's see what it says here. What do you guys think about affirmative action? Now, there's another key here. This legislation, they didn't say this act. Although it means this is law, legislation means it's a law, they could have phrased it and said, this act was created. Now, if you look at it, affirmative action is actually the only one that doesn't have the word act. So already I'm thinking, maybe it is affirmative action, but let's look at the other options first. If we have a look at equal opportunities, the Unemployment Insurance Fund, we did this last week, UIF. Remember we said if for some reason you cannot go to work, if you were fired, if you had a baby, if you adopted a child, we could go to the Unemployment Insurance Fund to claim a part of our salary. Now, would that give me an equal opportunity in the workplace? Nope, definitely not. The Skills Development Act. Do you guys think when I go and study that now all of a sudden I'm going to have an equal opportunity? No. It's going to improve my skills and I can apply for a better position, but it's not going to see that I'm equal. So no, not that one. The Black Empowerment Act. Equal opportunities. How am I going to choose here between D and A? Remember here, we're talking about designated groups. In other words, affirmative action says, we are trying to correct the injustices of the past meaning apartheid. So we are taking a specific group of people and we're giving them more opportunities. So my answer for this question is A, affirmative action. Number 5. The South African government introduced this act in 2003. Key word here, guys, this act. In 2003, as a method of, look what they're saying here, growing the economy, eradicating poverty, creating jobs, and enforcing the concept of transformation in the workplace. Let's have a look at the options that they give us here. That is not an act, the industry charter. That's not an act. It's not a law. So no, we know it's not A. Broad-based black economic empowerment. That sounds like it could be an act and it could be a law. So let's leave that one open for now. The National Credit Act. Why did the government, implement the National Credit Act? To protect us as consumers against being ripped off by suppliers of products and services. So it has nothing to do with, let's just go back up here, it's got nothing to do with creating jobs and eradicating poverty. So no, we know this answer is not the National Credit Act. Now, interesting term that they made here, the BEE Codes of Good Practice. No, not that answer, guys. Definitely broad-based black economic empowerment, just that section here. This tells me that that's the wrong answer. Okay, they're just trying to confuse you guys by adding the Code of Good Practice. This is the act. Remember they said it's an act. Just go back to this. The act was passed in 2003. There is no act that's called Codes of Good Practice with BEE. So your answer is definitely B, BBBEE. Let's carry on. Question number 6. Businesses complying with this act, remember, they're giving us this word here, they're telling us it's an act, and they're saying if we comply, if we adhere, if we do what this act wants us to do, the government awards contracts based on the points obtained on a scorecard. Do you remember when we spoke about legislation a few weeks ago? We said that you've got something that's called a balanced scorecard. On this card, we need to say how many whites, how many Indians, how many coloreds, how many blacks work in our business. If we adhere to this act that we're going to have a look at now, government will say, wow, your points look very good on your scorecard, so we will give you government contracts or tenders. So let's have a look at the options here. The South African Qualifications Authority Act. This is SAQA. Now, think back, what is SAQA? They ensure that all of our courses, tertiary courses, colleges, anything where you go to further your education or get a new skill is up to standard. So, this has nothing to do with the scorecard. So we know it's not A. The Skills Development Act. We spoke about this. It is to improve ourselves, to further ourselves, and we don't keep a scorecard to say if our employees are going on training. The Black Economic Empowerment Act. And then the last one says the Employment Equity Act. Now, which one is it going to be? Because remember, the Black Economic Empowerment Act actually forms a part of my Employment Equity Act. Under the Employment Equity Act, we find the Black Economic Empowerment Act. And remember, I just said to you, this scorecard tells me how many people of color and how many white people I have, so that we can see if there's equal spread of employees. So it goes hand in hand with Black economic empowerment. All right, let's have a look here. Number 7 says, this act, once again, was introduced. Oh, wait, I put this question in here so that you guys can see this is a different way of asking the exact same question. But look what they're doing now. This came out of the Sunday Times. So just have a look here. It says this act was introduced in 2003 with the following objectives. And they actually go and list it for you guys. We just did this question where we talk about the growth in the economy, eradicating poverty, to create jobs, to enforce transformation. So I just wanted to show you that there's another way of asking this. And remember, we said the answer was B. So I'm not going to go through it again. And then I'm going to skip down to this one. Which one of the following laws in South Africa promotes inclusivity? Now think back. We spoke about the Constitution of South Africa. We discussed a little bit of inclusivity, human rights, environmental issues. And when we spoke about inclusivity, we said we are not allowed to treat anyone differently. And as soon as I say that, you guys are thinking, oh, it's with racism and whatever. But it's not just that. It is about male, female. It is about religion. It's about your culture. It's about your race. It's about whether you're in a wheelchair or whether you are an abled person. So it has to do with all of those and treating people equally. So look at it. It says, which one of the following laws in South Africa promotes inclusivity? The Skills Development Act, SAQA, once again, the Basic Conditions of Employment Act, or the Employment Equity Act. Guys, the minute I think about treating everyone the same, equal, the same, it means I'm talking about the Employment Equity Act, treating everyone in the same manner. All right. I think maybe we should take a quick break before we carry on with question 2.
Okay, quick break. Matrix, we'll see you right after the quick break. Welcome back, grade 12s. Anita and I were just discussing, and like she said, her grade 12s are writing prelims today, so I can imagine the stress they're under, but You don't need to stress because we're going through it now, and this revision, I pinky promise, does the world of wonders. Because if you don't, even if you just go and download these questions and do it for yourself, I promise you that is the best thing you can do for yourself. Revision and revise, and that's all you really need for business studies. You have to learn how to study and answer questions properly. So I hope that we are helping you. You are very quiet on the page. Mindset is I'm unhappy. I would like you to please tell me if you're struggling, what you want answered, if you didn't understand the question. Anita and I want to discuss this. Please, we're just here to help you. So enough with me, over to Anita.
Maybe I should start asking questions again like I did
Yes.
last week. So I think
Maybe.
we're going to do that as we're going along and see if you guys are responding. Maybe you're falling asleep. Maybe it's because I'm feeling a bit sick that I'm a bit off today. So no, come. Wake up, sit up, let's listen, and now let's carry on with questions. We did the multiple choice. You always get multiple choice, and now we're going on to answering questions, shorter answering questions. Guys, I promise you, you will get this question. Every single year, they love asking, write down the full term for the abbreviation BBBEE. And when I start teaching my grade 11s this, they go, it's B, 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 E, E. And I hope by now, this time of the year, you guys know exactly what it stands for. And I think this is the one I'm going to leave open now, because we've just spoken about it 5 minutes ago. So let's, on this Facebook, tell me, what is BBBEE? I'm going to carry on and we'll come back to that question. Now, question number B says, justify the introduction of the BBBEE Act by explaining any 2 examples. So this is awesome. We love these questions because you can go and choose any 2 of your own examples of, look at this, justify. In other words, tell us why they introduced BBBEE. Let's have a look here. I said, let me just go down here. Let's recap quickly. When we did legislation, I told you there's a difference between BEE and BBBEE. The first act that was introduced was called BEE. And that purely said that we need to rectify those injustices and we need to ensure that previously disadvantaged individuals were uplifted. Then, remember I told you that didn't work. Companies were not implementing this. So government said, we made a mistake. We're now implementing BBBEE, where we specifically say that you have to make sure that the black employees are uplifted into management and shareholder positions. All right, let's have a look here. So once again, I said to you, and remember, you can use your own answers here. This is purely what I suggest for this answer. It says ownership and management by black people of existing or new businesses. Example, black South Africans having a majority shareholding in South African rainbow minerals. You will get companies, if you go look, when we did investments, we spoke about black chip companies. And for interest's sake, I said to you, those are companies that are BEE. So you know the majority of the board, majority of the people in the company are black. So that means, wow, guys, that's awesome, because they are really implementing this well. They have uplifted into ownership and management positions. Then I said you could also say, to promote equal employment opportunities to disadvantaged people. Remember, you need to focus on this. Because we're talking about BEE, it is about disadvantaged. It is about people that didn't have the opportunities. So you must say to me, disadvantaged people. Example, I just put here, for Kumba Resources that employ a large number of black women. Not just black men specifically, but they focus on women. Then I also put a few points here, just so that you've got more ideas that you can talk about. It ensures employment equity, Skills development. That's one of the big things of BBBEE. They're saying here that we need to improve skills of those disadvantaged people so that they can go and apply for a better job, because they're going to be more qualified. Of course, they can go and get a better job with a bigger salary. They can look after their families better. I also said here, preferential procruitment. Wow, what is that word? Do you know what that word means?
I have no idea. No.
Next question for you guys. Have we got any answers yet
No,
here?
my computer's fighting
Oh,
with me, so I'm
guys.
sorry. I hope you are
You know
posting.
what? I know the minute that we're going to give the answer, you're all going to answer now, eh?
Yeah.
I'm
that
waiting
happened
for
last week.
BBBEE, and I'm waiting for what does this mean? Procurement. Think about human resources management. That's the only clue I'm going to give to you, and we're going to come back to that. And now we're saying enterprise development. Enterprise being the business, the company. This will benefit the company. The company is going to grow because we are uplifting. We are giving more skills, more qualifications. So we just have people becoming better, working better, and our productivity goes up. Then I also said corporate social investment. Please remember that this is a very important acronym that they love asking. CSI. Corporate social investment. I know it's off the topic, but who can tell me? Who can remember? What is the difference between the concept CSR and CSI? Corporate social responsibility says that it is the obligation of management to protect and promote the interest of their stakeholders. Wow, ma'am. What does that mean? Listen to it. They must protect and promote the interest of stakeholders. I didn't say shareholders. What is a stakeholder? A stakeholder is anyone that has an interest in the company. It could be a shareholder. So a shareholder can be a stakeholder. A stakeholder can also be the employees, because I am affected by the company that I work for. Consumers are affected by the company, so they can be stakeholders. So, and then CSI. Who can remember what that is? Corporate social investment. This is the actual resources that I am implementing into the community. And remember, resources is not just money. It can also be time. It can be my laborers giving up their time to go and help the community. That is a resource. Let's carry on. Now, what are we going to say for number C? Suggest 2 ways in which the BBBEE Act can be applied to a company that has a large sugar plantation. Now think about it. For those of you that live in KwaZulu-Natal, you've got all those lovely sugar plantations. It looks so nice and green, and they grow. And if you have a company that has a large plantation of sugar, how can we implement BEE? I love these questions, because once again, it's what you're going to say. You can't write nonsense. Has to have to do with BEE. But it's very open, and they accept a lot of answers. So I'm going to show you what I have here, what I wrote. I said the sugar company may have its own transport business, and it may outsource this function to its black employees. Because remember, when they burn the sugarcane, all of those have to be transported. Do you guys know what those big trucks look like with all the sugarcane on? We can say, we're not going to do it ourselves. We are going to outsource, ask another company, in other words, to do this for us. And we can make sure that that is a black-owned or by black employees that you're going to let them manage that. Then, selling part of your shares to your black employees. But look at this, I say selling. I didn't say give. I said sell. All right, we're not just handing out. We're saying, you know what? Today, I'm going to give you a special deal. I'm going to give you half price. because I want you in my business. I want the black input in my company because we want ideas, we want creativity, we like diversity in our company. So we're going to sell some of our shares to black employees so that they can share in the profits of the company. Remember, we want to uplift. If they've got shares, they're going to get dividends. And the harder they work, the more profit we're going to make. The better the company's going to do, the more you're going to get from your shares. So it's a win-win situation. If a black person has a direct interest in the business, direct interest meaning he is interested in how that business performs. He is involved in the running. He is involved with decisions. They are going to work hard because they want to make money. Let's carry on. Are there any answers yet?
My computer restarted, so
Oh,
I'm sorry,
let's
guys.
see. I'm waiting for you guys, eh? I'm really worried. I'm worried. I will come back to that question. I'm going to carry on with the next question. It says, answer the following questions based on the Employment Equity Act. Remember we said, the minute we think about employment equity, we think about BEE. We think about BBBEE. We think about everyone being equal. So let's see what they say. State the main purpose of the Employment Equity Act. Now, it says here, to implement affirmative action. Government expects us to implement affirmative action. So that is a main goal of the Employment Equity Act. Businesses must create, once again, look at this, equal job opportunities for all people. All people meaning all sexes, all races, all genders, all religion, not a specific person or a specific religious group, everyone. Everyone is equal. Eliminate unfair discrimination. If you interview someone in a wheelchair that's perfectly capable of doing the job, and you say to him, no, sorry, no, the job's been taken. That is unfair discrimination because you're feeling threatened. That is not right. We need to ensure that we give everyone a fair and equal opportunity to apply for this job because we do not want to discriminate. Achieve diversity. That is one of the favorite words that I love to ask in a business test. Define the term diversity. For something to be diverse, it means that it's different. So in our workforce, in our business, it will mean I've got different people, different cultures, different religions, and you guys will see, maybe not so much now in school, but when you go out next year into the real world, and you're going to go study, I'm sure you can relate to this. Hey?
Please tell me.
You will see a whole lot of different people.
Yes.
And sometimes your mouth is going to hang open and you're just going to think, where did these people come from? It's not what you're used to. But you know what, guys? That is what we embrace in the workplace. Because diversity means that there's more ideas, there's more creativity. And we need to use that. We need to actually benefit from this. We're not going to be negative and just say, oh, this person is this and this. We're going to embrace it. Okay, next one. Address historical imbalances. Remember we said in the olden days, in apartheid, people didn't get the opportunity to go to school, to get that qualification, and now we're saying this is to address this, to bring back and fix this imbalance. And then once again, equal representation in our workplace. Question number B. Evaluate the impact of this act on the business operations. In other words, how is this act impacting me, the business? Let's see what I gave you guys here. Employers, that's the boss, must create opportunities for previously disadvantaged people. We have to. This is what the Act expects of us, the company. Employers are prohibited. You're not allowed to. Prohibited means no, 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 no. from discriminating against anyone on the basis of race, gender, age, or disabilities. Employers must transform their workplace. Transform means to change. Transformation, improving, getting better. So we must transform our workplace so that barriers to employment equity are eliminated. What does that mean? When there's a barrier, it means I cannot enter. It's closed. And we're saying we want management to break away those barriers so everyone can enter into this workforce and be equal. Then, cost implications for implementing the Act. Implementing the Act is time-consuming. So it's going to cost me money and it's going to take my time. Staff turnover. What does that mean? Turnover means when people are leaving. So if you've got a high turnover, it means people are leaving quickly.
Quickly!
I'm talking too much.
I know. So quickly go have an ad break and we'll be right back, grade 12. Welcome back, Matrix. Hope you had a good, quick little break. And I want to tell you about something we have going here at Mindset Studios. So I don't know if you've checked on the page recently. I've been posting stars in education, but I'm here to tell you, Matrix, who are studying business, what it's about. So if you think your teacher has in any way influenced you, had an impact on you, made you think your dreams can actually come true, and in some other way just made you become a better student and learning, and you can actually think and dream things that you wanted to and didn't think were possible, right? So if you think you know and you have a teacher that is worthy of being a star in the education, we have on the page, you just have to click on it. I've posted the link numerous times, but I'll post it again just for you. You just have to click and enter your teacher's name, and you never know, maybe they could become one of our stars in education. So I just wanted to tell you about that. Please go look on the page, facebook.com/learnextra for any of the information if you think you have a teacher that is worth, like Anita.
Thank you. Yo, I hope my kids are listening, and it would be such a compliment if you guys do that for your teachers, because often I think we don't feel like you guys like us, so please like us.
Please like them.
Oh. Okay, we're carrying on, and I'm going to talk quicker now, because otherwise we're not going to get through this. I'm going to carry on to question number C that says, propose 2 ways in which government can contribute to the successful implementation of this Act. Remember, we're talking about the Employment Equity Act. Now, I'm going to quickly go through this because I want to move on to another question. For government, we're talking in terms of government. They make this legislation, they implement this Act. How can they ensure that it's implemented successfully? We're saying we want to transform the workplace through learnerships and CETAs. Remember CETAs, we said, for every sector, they've got an authority that determines the skills and courses and training needs for that sector. So they're saying government can ensure that the workplace is transformed, made better through all of the learnerships and skills that people can get. Employers are fined. Wow. Did you guys know that? They can get a fine if they don't implement the Employment Equity Act. Employers must furnish regular reports, we spoke about that just now, to the Department of Labor on their employment equity plans. Then they're also sending out inspectors to come and monitor your business. They want to come and see, where's your scorecard? Who have you got here? They're going to check on you. Those companies who comply with it are given certificates and recognition. And also remember, we said, if you comply with it, they give you government contracts and tenders. Our next one says, provide incentives to the companies who comply with this. And then also, I said to you guys, any other relevant answer, because it's your question. You can tell me how government can implement this successfully. We're carrying on. Question 4. With reference to the Basic Conditions of Employment Act, remember I told you the basic conditions that the employer needs to adhere to. So this is the act that we're talking about now. Question A says, what is the maximum number of days allowed for family responsibility leave? Now you'll see that I wrote here 3 or 5 days. How does that work? Can I just decide, you know what, my child is sick, so I'm going to stay at home for 5 days? No. If it's a family responsibility, if you have to take your child in to have his tonsils taken out, they're probably going to say to you 3 days. 5 days would be when it's a direct relative of yours that passed away, your mom, your dad, your granny. You need to go to the funeral, you need to plan the funeral. They will most likely give you 5 days. But please remember that once you've taken those 3 days or 5 days, it's over. You can't say next month, oh no, now my daughter has to go and have her tonsils out. You have to take unpaid leave because you've used that privilege already to take your family responsibility leave. Outline any 3 minimum conditions of the employment according to the act above. So we want any 3 conditions that they discuss in this act. Let's have a look here. It says your working hours must be in line with this. Overtime must be paid. Payments for work on Saturdays and also on public holidays need to be in there. Your leave conditions, your child labor is prohibited. That must definitely be in there. Because remember, you can't go and work legally if you are under the age of 15. What do you have to do if you want to resign, if you want to terminate your employment? That has to be in there. And then also any other answer, but it must relate to content of the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. Question number C. Does the above act make provision for domestic workers? Guys, definitely 100% yes, they do. Legal contracts, remember, if you have a domestic worker, you are entitled, you must have a legal contract with your employer. There must be the dismissal procedure in that contract. If something goes wrong, if you want to stop working for them, if your boss doesn't want you to work there, that needs to be in the contract. UIF is compulsory. It is a law. So if you are a domestic worker, you must have UIF. Leave regulations must be in this contract. When are you allowed to go on holiday? Christmas? Easter? Is it stipulated in the contract? We'll get to that just now. Your minimum wage must be in there. And then lastly, any other answer that you guys have that's relevant to the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. My next question says, the recent Labour Relations Act makes provision for the establishment of workplace forums. Workplace forums. Let's just quickly think back. What is a workplace forum? Remember we said in a workplace, we can have a little team of people that represent us. We can go to them and say, oh, I'm unhappy about the fact that I never have a lunch. I only have 15 minutes tea break. I want an hour lunch. You go to the workplace forum. The workplace forum is there as a bridge. They bridge the gap between the employees and the employer. So they negotiate on behalf of the employees. And they go to the employer and they will tell them, this is what the people are unhappy about. That is what we do, or what the workplace forum does. It says, give 4 reasons why you think this was introduced. And I love this once again, why you think. This is your opinion, guys. I gave you some ideas here of what you could use. It protects the workers against unfair dismissals. Because now they're going to know, these employers are going to know, wow, we can't just let someone go without going through the correct procedure, because the workplace forum is going to be there. They're going to be very cross. They're going to stand up for the rights of that employee. It says represent workers on boards regulating social benefit schemes. Participates in joint decision making because they can be involved. They're negotiating. It's like democratic. You've all got a say. Promotes the efficiency in the workplace. It protects the workers against discrimination in the workplace. And then it promotes the interest of all. Once again, all. Because remember, we're all equal in the workplace, regardless of union membership. Did you guys see that? They're saying here it represents all of the employees. You don't have to belong to a trade union to be represented by the workplace forum. Everyone can go and talk to the workplace forum. And then, next I said, any other relevant answer. But look at this. I have an alternative answer here where I said, you could have referred to the Labor Relations Act in this answer. You could have said, in the Labor Relations Act, they make provision for the following. They're saying regulations of the organizational rights of trade unions. Because remember, in the Labor Relations Act, they talk about what rights a trade union has in the workplace. It also stipulates the relationship between employers and employees, regulations of the rights to strike. So they tell us what procedures we need to go through before we can go on strike. And the recourse to lock out. Oh, I wonder if you guys can remember that. What is the difference between a strike and a lockout? A strike is when the employees refuse to do work until they accept the demands of the employer. A lockout is almost the opposite. This is where the employer refuses that the employees come into work until they accept demands that were made to them. Hope you remembered that. Then, in the Labor Relations Act, it also says amendment and repealing of certain laws relating to labor relations issues, and the promotion of employee participation in decision-making. Once again, we want our workers to be part of decision-making because we want to be democratic. We want input of our workers. We don't want to be autocratic and make all the decisions. What's wrong now?
It's okay. There's no more cough. It's just like...
Okay, you guys know what I mean there. All right. Now, question number 7. This is an easier one that I put in here, but just so you guys can see, because remember, you always have shorter types of questions. You had the multiple choice, and now there's a little table here. Just going to move it down a little bit. I'm going to start by reading through this, then we're going to look at that, and we're going to see match the columns. The first one is a group of representatives made up of employees selected from an organization that employs 100 workers or more. Now let's look at the options. Arbitration. No, that's definitely not a group of people that's going to arbitrate. Outsourcing. No, what is outsourcing? This is when I ask a company outside of my business to do a job for me. Dispute resolution. Did we talk about disputes here? No, we didn't. Let's look at our other options. A workplace forum. We just spoke about it, guys, where we said it's a representative group of employees. So my answer here is D. I'm just going to write it here for you guys. I'm not going to draw lines everywhere now. Let's look at 7.2. A logical way to end conflict. Look at this. After the mediation process. Remember we said CCMA. I did this lesson with you guys. So let's see if you remember. It's conciliation, mediation, and then arbitration. Yay! Look at that. A, arbitration. So this is the answer. A for arbitration. 7.3 says, companies tend to subcontract various phases of jobs to other firms or individuals. Outsourcing. Remember when we said you ask another company or individual to do a certain job for you. So this answer is B. 7.4, a method to reduce business costs by streamlining labor. In other words, you now need to go and think and rethink your labor situation. How am I going to now make it less? How am I going to chisel a little bit off my labor? I think this means retrenchment, because I have to let go of some of my laborers. I'm streamlining it. I'm making it less. Okay, so your answer here, I'll just write it on this side, is E for retrenchment. And then our last one says, trade unions and employer organizations working together to resolve conflicts. We're talking about issues here. Issues are called disputes. So my answer there is C, dispute resolution. Let's move on to our last question for today. It says, state any 4 functions of a trade union. Remember, a trade union is there to represent the employees, to negotiate on behalf of them. So any 4, it protects the members from retrenchment, that's when they let you go, and unfair dismissals, if they fire you for the incorrect reason. Trade unions are there to protect you. They act on behalf of members in dispute resolutions. Dispute meaning when there's a fight, you arguing. Monitors the implementation on matters affecting legislation. Example, gender equality, affirmative action. They deal with all of those, and they will monitor if this is being implemented in the company. Trade unions strive to improve the working conditions. They want the employees to be looked after. They want them to have regular lunch breaks and tea breaks and be able to have bathroom facilities. They negotiate that on your behalf. They take part in collective bargaining. We did this. Collective bargaining says we negotiate with the employer on behalf of the employee. Collective bargaining is like negotiating. Negotiates on behalf of the members for better wages and benefits. What could a benefit be? Something like your bonus, something like a weekend away, something like that. And then any other answer that you would give me here, as long as it applies to trade unions. Now, is there anyone that answered our questions?
Yes.
Yay!
Must I give you names? Because there were just quite a few people who were just shouting out. I'll just
broad
say
random one there.
I'll just go. She's got a cool name, so I'll go Lovejoy Ngobako. BBBEE is broad-based Black economic empowerment.
And I hope that's LJ that I know that just sent that answer, because it sounds like it could be. I hope it is you. Shout out to you if it is you, LJ.
And then I don't know about the other one with the
procurement.
No.
We had a lot of answers there come through for procurement, and it doesn't seem like you guys really know what it is. Because I want to actually go back to this quickly. I think it was in question 2 that we did this. Oh, and my time is running out, so I can't go look for it now. But procurement has to do with how you're hiring and interviewing and getting people into your business. Okay, it's how you are going through the process of selecting the best employees for your company. But now I need to stop talking, and I'll see you guys next week, and we'll carry on again.
Thanks, Anita. Thank you, Matrix. Thank you, Macmillan, for proudly sponsoring our show. Have a great, great, great evening. I just want to say thank you. Even though Anita had a cough, you know, we still managed to get through it. So we'll see you same time, same place next week. Cheers, Mindsetters.